Hi guys, what's up? It's me, Kira Snow, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I am going to be recapping and reviewing All Stars 8 episodes 3 and 4. So if you want to hear the tea on the queens, then keep watching. I'm going to do it so that the first 15 minutes or so is episode 3, then there's going to be a break, then the next 15 minutes is episode 4. It'll be bookmarked so there won't be spoilers. If you want to just watch the first half, then that's fine, or just the second half, that's fine as well. And I did want to say that how I'll be structuring my review for this season is I'm mostly going to be touching upon the most memorable moments, so the really the high highs and the low lows is what I'm aiming to be touching upon. I'm also going to, of course, touch upon the main challenge and then also the highs and lows of the runway. So I'm not really going to be focusing as much on the middle or mediocre type stuff. So just giving a heads up as to that's how I'll be structuring these reviews, I believe so. So we're going to jump right into episode 3. So first of all, we see of the episode, we see that Jimbo ended up voting for Naysha to go home. And when they tallied up the group votes, there was 7 votes for Naysha. So largely overwhelmingly, everyone wanted Naysha to go home, which I was really sad to see happen. I do understand the rationale as to why she got sent home. She wasn't very strong that week. Nor had she been extremely memorable all throughout in her run so far on All Stars 8. But that being said, I really enjoyed her personality. I can really see how genuine she was and friendly, and her just presence was super amazing. So I am really sad to see her go. And I think she really had more to offer. She was extremely polished, and I would love to have seen more of her. And then I saw that it was revealed Jessica had voted for Kahana. And I thought that was a really interesting moment when Kahana said oh, I think things should be based off of not emotions and it should be more on track record. But at the end of the day, these queens get to vote however they want to. And I could see that Jessica had a strong connection with Naysha because they were sisters, Latina sisters. And I really respect Jessica for, standing her ground and saying I voted and I don't regret it. Because I think at the end of the day, your vote is your vote and you're going to vote however you want. And nobody said that the group all had to vote a certain way. That was never a rule. That was never something that was decided upon. So even though Kahana makes sense, Kahana can't expect everyone to vote the same way. That just doesn't make sense. So the guest judge for episode 3 is JoJo Siwa, which is so crazy that she hasn't been actually a guest judge yet, and I'm really excited to see her there. We see her looking with so many rhinestones she could blind someone because she is rhinestone for the gods. So I appreciate you, JoJo Siwa, for doing your due diligence, looking like a queen even though you didn't really have to. So little clap for her there. And we have this week, the main challenge is the supermarket ball, which I'm always excited for a ball. You know how the divas are. So the first category is legendary queens. So it's a play on, RuPaul loves her puns. And during the mini challenge, when RuPaul was bringing in all the groceries and stuff for the main challenge, I just thought it was absolutely one memorable moment. The pit crew walked in and Lala Ree just fainted. She literally fell, and I was living for that. I think Lala Ree this season has just been such a joy to watch. Her energy and everything she does is just fabulous. So I could not be happier with that. Immediately out the gates, I could see James doing really well because she said she makes her own clothes and is an actual seamstress. Same with Jimbo. So I think those two are definitely going to be the strongest, like, in the episode. Lala Ree, we all remember what happened on her previous season when she made that bag look. It'll be here for the rest of our lives, I'm pretty sure, because it was just a moment. And she said she learned how to sew, which I really appreciate, because when queens come to All Stars and they be not knowing how to sew, like, it's a choice, like, for reals, like, unless you are like dyslexic or something is like in your soul that tells you can't sew, unless that's the case, you need to at least try, like, you know, like, that's the real tea here. But maybe I'm biased because I know how to sew. I don't sew professionally, but I can patch something up. So yeah, I just appreciate, like, the effort, because by now in Drag Race, you should just, you know what's coming. You know the sewing challenge is coming. So why not be a little bit primed and ready for it if you're serious about snatching this crown? But anyways, I see in the workroom as the queens are preparing, Jimbo, like, literally I see her blowing up a balloon and then immediately popping it. And I'm just like, I see Jimbo is just here to have fun. I kind of feel like, in a way, this whole season is mostly like Jimbo versus the rest of the queens, because Jimbo doesn't even seem to be sweating at all. I know that, like, this isn't her first season of Drag Race, but she just seems so advanced when it comes to, like, skills wise and her confidence level. So I think she is really a major hitter, and she is proving herself to be such as well. So we also hear in the episode, Heidi talks about her grandma who passed away. And I want to say, like, this season, I'm also really enjoying Heidi. I can see her makeup has elevated, her looks have elevated, and she's just, like, a real gem of a person. So it was really, like, kind of sad to hear about her grandma. And, but I also really just am rooting for Heidi in a large way. You know, I really hope she does well this season. And she is also another one, like Lala Ree, who is just super hilarious to see, like, all the jokes she'd be making around the workroom. So for the first runway, Legendary, some of the looks that stood out to me were Jimbo's bubble milk look. She really looks like just like a fresh glass of milk, and it's just refreshing, to say the least. Candy's look was really good too. I don't know how she does it with getting that sculptural splash milk look. Like, that was actually really cool. The bodysuit, yeah, I agree with one of the judges, Michelle, who said, like, the silhouette is kind of giving the same. So yeah, I want her to, like, play up with that a little bit more, but I can't complain. Like, her milk look did it did fit the challenge. I just think she could play around with her silhouette a little bit more, and we would see it as more of a challenge. And then I also actually really like Jessica's Fruit Loop look. It was just, the execution was really well, and no one else did Fruit Loops, and it's like an out of the box thing, which I always appreciate. I don't like seeing same, everyone walking down the runway looking exactly the same. So it was really nice that she put a little touch of uniqueness on there. For the bottoms, I would say Darian, I think, like, I did appreciate the milk shape, but, like, the silhouette was just like any old dress. So there wasn't any pizzazz to it necessarily. It just fit the brief, but squarely. It wasn't, like, impressive in any memorable way. And then another one was Kasha's. Same for me. It was just like a very predictable silhouette, and it wasn't really giving sour cream anyways. For the supermarket supermodel, the tops I would say were Kahana. I was really impressed with her blue and yellow. It actually did look like kind of a supermodel look. Some of the other ones didn't look like supermodel. They just looked like a look that happened to be made with supermarket materials. And then another top was Candy's. It is controversial because some people were saying it looked like kind of like Jiggly's horrendously bad look. But for me, I think Candy's was unique because it stood out from the others and it seemed high fashion. High fashion is like, to me, it means like unconventional shapes, things you wouldn't expect. And Candy's did have an unconventional shape. So I'll give it to her for that. And then she also was really smart with it in that she styled it with a super cool looking wig. So that really sold it for me. And yeah, I will say this, Candy, like when you first like think of her essence and who she is, you wouldn't really think her to be like a very strategic or smart player. But when you look at what she's doing and how she acts, she's very smart with everything she does. And she knows Drag Race and she knows how to do it well. I'll say that about her. So I think for that reason, she's a very strong competitor and she's also very talented. So another one that I really liked was Lala Ree's. Like, very surprisingly, she looked very chic. I think with her look, I think it was made out of bags or something. It is really elevated compared to her old look. I was impressed, and not a lot of people can rock a bald head on the main stage of Drag Race. So I think hers actually did look like a supermodel. And then Heidi's sunset flower look was gorgeous as well. I could tell she put a lot of hard work into it, and it seemed like really good. As for the bottoms, I would put Darien Lake. So the reason for that was the skirt was too low. I'm seeing with Kasha and Darien, their skirt heights are weird. I think they're trying to be a little bit more conservative, but unfortunately, in Drag Race, we're not looking for conservative height skirts. Like, nobody's over here with a ruler measuring your skirt height to make sure it's past your knees. Like, that's in school. Like, we don't need that. We need, like, we have other girls giving in like body and like literally everything. So I'm not sure what's going on there, but I think if her skirt had just been like a little bit higher, then I would have been totally fine with the look, because I actually really did enjoy like the rainbow element to it. It was like rainbows dripping down. I had no problem with it aside from the skirt height. So like, I was really impressed with it, but I did feel like it kind of dragged the whole look down, the skirt height. I don't know why it was, but anyways. So we see also another category for the supermarket runway was the fruity one. And for the tops for that one, I thought Kahana's banana look was really good. It was realistic, and there was just so many little nuances with it, which was just giving banana realism, and it was perfect. Another one that was in the top for fruity, I would say, was James. I'm like blanking on what James's was for fruity. Well, she was in the top for that. And then another one that was in the top for fruity was Darien Lake. I really loved her coat. Actually, I think she should have left it on for longer, but it was really good. And then the reveal, like, she did look really like amazing with the reveal for that. And I thought it was creative. when you think back on that runway, who do you remember? Whose fruity look do you remember? Darian's, because she like showed everything. So like, I think for me, being memorable is really important too. Heidi's was also a good fruity look. And then I was really weirded out by Alexis Michelle's look. It was pretty, but I feel like it was a missed opportunity in that not everything has to be a gown. Like, she has shown like she can nail a gown, but now I want to see like, where's the creativity? It's just always a gown. Every single week with her, it's a gown, a gown, a gown. And you know, if you're going for blueberry, like, give us blueberry. Don't give us like gown. Like, I liked her hair, but there wasn't enough blueberry isms for me in the look. It wasn't giving blueberry. It was giving like dress, like really fancy, pretty dress. That's all I got from that. It wasn't giving fruity. And then the bottoms for fruity was Lala Ree. I think she was supposed to be like an apple with like caramel on it, and it was just, it wasn't giving for me. So this week, the winner of the week is the winner of this week is Jessica. And Jessica goes against Raja, and we see Jessica slays the lip sync, like no questions, like, and she deserves that money, $30K. That's how much the prize is for winning the lip sync. And then we see, sadly, Jessica chooses Kasha to go home. And I am really sad to see Kasha leave. She is amazing. And like, I don't know, she's just like really hilarious, everything that she does. I did want to see like a little bit more from her in terms of like, so far as the weeks have gone. I think, like, to be honest, like the skirt height is really what's holding kind of like Kasha and both Darian back in a way. They should, like, it's like so many of those looks would have been elevated if the height of the garments was just like kicked up a notch. So I'm really sad to see that. But I really loved her going away message. In a way, it was very like bittersweet, because she was like, there's always time for kindness, and we were expecting a cocktail. So like, she kind of tugged at our heartstrings a little too much there. But I hope to see her beyond Drag Race too, because she's just one of those other girls who just seems like a gem of a person. So that wraps it up for episode 3. We're going to take a little break and then get into episode 4. So we are back at it with episode 4. And here we see we see a little recap from last episode, and we see Heidi's face looking extremely unenthused. I can relate, because my emotions really wear on my face. Like, whatever's going on in here is very obvious out here. And I think that's kind of similar for Heidi in this moment. And I really feel for her, because I honestly didn't really see Jessica's win last week either. Like, I feel like it could have been other girls, but at the same time, I'm happy Jessica won. And I could see it being argued that way. And I think if Heidi right now has been safe a lot, so she kind of feels unseen. And I kind of feel for her, because I know she's trying really hard. But she also has to know that this is a show, and it's not always going to be that the most deserving queen actually wins, because, it's like drag and judging of drag is really subjective. So it really kind of depends on, what RuPaul wants, what the producers want. So at the end of the day, if you're going to be getting so like wound up over like the fact that you didn't get what you think you deserved on like a reality television show, then I think it's a little bit unreasonable, just given from like Drag Race historically what we know. Like, you know, no shade for the other seasons, but there was a time, I think on one of the All-Star season, where everyone was thinking Shangela it was her time, and then it turned out not to be her time. So, like, all these queens are super talented. So if you don't kind of get your flowers when you think you should have, it doesn't make sense to just be bitter about it for, like, 2 whole days. Like, best to just move on and focus on the future. But anyways, this week the main challenge is making trailers for their very own movies. And the queens divide up into 3 teams. And another aside I want to make, or like a high memorable point, was that James Mansfield confessionals are giving me life. I'll say the first time around on when James was on Drag Race, like, he didn't really make a memorable stamp because he wasn't there long enough to, as a fair point. But I think he had mentioned, like, when they were doing the challenge, he was like, Michelle's face is giving, like, very stoic, like Frozen. And just, it was just really hilarious when he was just talking about how, like, stone cold faced she was. Because, like, we all feel that when judges are super quiet, like, it feels eerie and weird. So it was interesting that she was able to, like, voice upon it and, like, just make a joke of it. Like, it was pretty funny. But so what we see for as far as the challenges, the trailers, I will say 2 of them were really funny, and then one of them was kind of like meh. So the group that was very meh was Alexis, Darian, and James. I think in their group, James was the one who kind of did the best. And then Alexis was not super memorable, and Darian was like okay. I think the problem was they were all kind of going for similar trope characters, and if everyone's the same character, it's not really telling a really interesting story. So they should have diversified, and, like, one's has something different about them that's like you got to bring a balance. Like, everyone can't be stupid, or else, like, there's nothing funny about that. So I think that kind of sucked for them. The strongest was probably Jimbo's team. Jimbo, Candy, and Jessica were all in a team, and that team was just destined for glory because, like, we already know Jimbo and Jessica work well together and are just naturally funny, and Candy is also naturally funny on her own, so that was kind of destined to work out well. And then in that one, in Jimbo, Candy, and Jessica's trailer, I think Jimbo was absolutely phenomenal. I don't know if the other 2 could have played Jimbo's character as well as she did. It's just like the asides when she was going crazy was just, like, so believable. She just has amazing acting skills, and it was just really a delight to see. And then I think Candy played her role really well. I could see in some parts, like, Candy wasn't as polished as she could have been, but during the moments where she needed to deliver, she did deliver, and she committed to the role. So even though she wasn't, like, as polished as Jimbo, like, her ability to commit and deliver really, like, helped pull her through and make the whole thing a success. And Jessica as well is not as polished, but she still got in those funny moments, and that really made their team, like, super strong. And then the other team was Lala Ree, Heidi, and Kahana. So I think this team actually did really well also. I think Kahana pulled through. I could see at one point she was not so good with memorizing lines, which, to be fair, like that is kind of hard to memorize so many lines and get the wording exactly correct. So it makes sense. But I think Kahana did a good job of bringing the balance, because Kahana is supposed to be the normal or more normal one in this movie trailer, and then Lala Ree and Heidi are supposed to be the crazy ones. And I think the only one that I actually laughed physically out loud at was Lala Ree. Like, her voice that she was doing, Michelle was kind of weirded out by the voice, but I was living for it. It was kind of giving me like Bernie Mac or something, just like super funny. And I think Lala also really committed to her role as well. Like when I saw her gaze, like her kind of like crazy look, her eyes like never like wavered, and I was like, wow, that's like real commitment. So if you can commit to the crazy, like that's like, I respect that. Like, and that's what you need for acting. So I think she surprisingly delivered. I wasn't really expecting her to be a good actress, but she actually is. So I was really impressed by that. And then we have also the runway, which was As the World Turns. So the top for As the World Turns, some of the top looks for me were Candy and Jimbo. Candy's, I do think the execution was a little off, but she really gets a strong amount of points for how creative her look was. Like, nobody's else looked like Candy's. Like, it was very anime and executed well. We've seen some anime like looks on the main stage not be executed well, or not be like quite delivering, but Candy's really did deliver. The only thing I would say was that the ass part, like it wasn't like her ass was kind of like above where it should be. So I think like that could have been pulled down more, or some like extra like pieces added just to make it look cleaner. So, but from the front, it looked really nice. I think from the back, it could have been a little bit more tailoring or something, but it still was impressive. And then I think Jimbo's, like, it was just mind-blowing. It was amazing, and everything fit right, executed well, so that was amazing. Some of the bottoms for the runway, I would say, were Heidi's and Lala Ree's. Lala Ree, like, the coloring on the back, like her, like on her behind, like the coloring was weird, and I was just like, this is not appealing to look at. And then unfortunately Heidi's was the same. She was a donkey, but like it was like a sad looking donkey. It wasn't like a happy, healthy looking donkey. Like, something about it was just like really off to me, and like I could see that look haunting my dreams, which is not something, I mean, and not haunting in like in an amazing way, haunting in like a kind of mediocre way. So like, I wasn't sure what it was supposed to be giving. Like, is it supposed to be giving creepy, or is it supposed to be giving kind of cool? I was like, there was too many questions for me, so that's why it became a bottom. And then one of the questionable ones I had, like in the medium range, was James's, because I had liked some things about it and I didn't like some things about it. I did like that she said like, oh, she's paying homage to Aztec, whatever, and like that's really cool. But I feel like I kind of know like a little bit about Aztec culture, and I think, she didn't have to have like such a large draping in the front, like that skirt. It looked very, I don't know, like conservative or something. I think she was a little too covered up. Like, she could have had she could have made it look a little bit more obvious that it's Aztec, like on the bottom half. I think the top half, it looked obviously Aztec with the amazing headpiece, which I really liked. but like from neck down, it looked like some fashion choices could have been edited to give more Aztec than what she was giving. So I think even though I liked it and there were good things about it, it was a little bit of a missed opportunity. I wouldn't put it in the bottom, but I would say a definite middle and point of confusion. So that's what that is. And now we get to the end. The rightfully so winner of the week is Jimbo. I did think she was probably the strongest overall. And then we see the lip sync is between Jimbo and Chanel, who I wasn't expecting to see. She's all the way from, I believe, season 1. And so that's pretty cool to see the older queens coming back. Same thing with Jessica Wilde. I wasn't really expecting to see her, but lo and behold, she's here slaying, and we love to see it. So, yeah. So Chanel wins the lip sync, which I think makes sense. And then, unfortunately, she pulls the lipstick, and the group has voted for Darian to go home. So that is very sad. I had enjoyed Darian a lot, and I don't think she was necessarily the weakest this week. I think it was kind of Alexis Michelle. But, you know, in All Stars, it's about the group vote, and that's what the group voted. So that does it for episode 4. And I will say, at this point in the game, I think the who is in the running for the top would probably be Jessica and Jimbo. It looks like the Jays are where it's at. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you liked it, leave a like, and don't forget to subscribe. Also follow me on TikTok and Instagram, where I post a lot of posts daily, and you can get more content there. So anyways, I'll see you guys in the next video for episodes 5 and 6. Bye!